Peace and blessings. This is Unplug 'em. This one comes from some questions that was brought my way by a good friend of mine, my main man, 50 Grand, again and again and again. I like to call him Shotty Piper. Sometimes I call him Shotty Mike. But my main man, Rashad, good friend of mine, he gets me in some conversations sometimes, you know, and he'll end up sparking a thought, and I'll go down a stream of consciousness with him, and that will end up being the lesson that you guys see many times. So again, big up and big love to my main man again and again and again, Brother Rashad. This one also comes to you somewhat partially from conversations I also had with my good brother down there in TX, another main man, good Ock down there, Brother Lawrence, and you know, peace and blessings be upon him and his ministry as well. And it came just from having some conversation with Brother Rashad this morning about the Israelites, and we went off into some things, and we ended up on Shock G and Parliament Funkadelic and Pop, and this is going to be fun. We're going to lightweight jam on the one, and we're going to be in and out of here real fast because I got some things to do tonight at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time on irockradiofm.org. I will do another interview along the lines of the last one that I did on the same channel with Sister Lois James out there in Cali. And, you know, it was a pleasure to do it last time on the poisonous products theory that I did a video on, and they kind of wanted me to continue on that. But, of course, you know me, I got to say something that ain't been said, and so I got some things in my head that I'm ready to let loose. So I'm looking forward to doing that. So, you know, we're just going to try to stay loose a little bit with this one. And, you know, again, I'm Ghetto Morpheus. So, you know, I'm going to do it loose, and I'm going to enjoy it. And I'm speaking to a particular constituency. And if you're not a part of that constituency, there's a button for that. And, you know, you can move on. But again, you know, I'm here for the lost sheep of the tribe. And that's people who is not well versed in certain things, people who are not academically inclined necessarily, or scholastically inclined necessarily, or I should say, and or people who don't trust in that stuff. We're not locked in a box of books. We're gonna have to have English conversation. As long as we're using this satanic language here, you're gonna say something that's a curse. So people, oh, the word Lord is balling. Boy, please, I am not the dullest knife in the drawer. I might not be the brightest bulb in the lamp, but please believe I know that. Okay, champ? So, you know, we're going, for conversational purposes, we're going to go ahead and say things the way everybody understand them. And then I've got videos to show and prove that, this ain't my first rodeo. I know a little something about what word come from here and come from there. But again, we are not going to be stuck in that when we're trying to conversate. Communication rule the nation. So again, you know, we're going to go ahead and lightweight jam one time. So we were talking about the Israelites doing what you like, doing what you want to do because of your blood. And that's just the line of thought that we had got on. And, you know, of course, you know, I do understand that one of the big tricks in this tricky society, in this tricky world we live in, is to confuse who are the Jews. And of course we know Jew is not the proper term. That's a Johnny-come-lately term, as my main man Khalid Muhammad, rest in peace, and peace and blessings be upon him, and much respect to the elder, like to say. And again, I don't agree with or ascribe to everything nobody say. So because I give a big up, a shout out, or respect to my elders, please don't believe I'm brainwashed by nobody or no thing. I am an anomaly, Detroit public school product. I don't believe much of nothing till I'm shown. And the Most High has been graceful and merciful enough to allow for me to experience things in real time. Actual application of all of the many different theories that have run through this raggedy mind of mine. And he's done a decent job with giving me the spirit to discern and rightly divide those different things. And as I rightly divide them and chop them up like a Cuisinart, then my job is to serve them up to you. So let me do the cooking. All right, Israelites, doing what you want to do. And please believe I can burn a little taste. Doing what you want to do because of your blood. Now that is a very reptilian brained mindset. It is elitist and illuminist. to believe that because you come from a particular bloodline, family, or race, you can do what you want to do, big boss dog on everybody else. That's whether it comes from the Rothschilds, that's whether it comes from the Ford family, the Lazards, whether it comes from the Rockefellers, or whether it comes from the Blockefellers, who stand up on the block and, you know, because they family is the big dog family in the hood, they bossing on everybody. That's all wrong, and it's reptilian minded. So when we find it in the tribe, and there are those in the tribe, and it's those who put up videos on YouTube who, on one level, I respect them the same way I respected the Jehovah's Witnesses get out here and go from door to door. I respect that part of the game, but not the whole game. I understand Charles Taze Russell was one of the made men, brotherhood, and he was buried in a very Illuminati-looking tomb. What do they call them things? Not a sepulchre. You know what I'm talking about. They buried him in a pyramid-style one. Mausoleum. Have mercy. Neurons misfiring sometimes. Used to smoke a lot of blunts and write a lot of rhymes. But, okay, Crowleyian, do what you like. It dawned upon me as we was talking, and the song came to my mind. You have to remember, too, I spent a lot of time in rhyme. From the time I was 13 years old, I did my first demo with my cousin, Larry Clark, one of the sons of the Clark sisters. We did a demo called The Cool Nerds. And, you know, he talks about that to this day, how advanced we were, how advanced of an MC that I was, and how advanced he was at making music and making beats. Because at that time, all I did was MC. You know, I wanted to DJ, but I didn't have the skills for that, but always had some sort of way with words. So I've got some experience in the music thing. That's why I put my little music up on here. Not because I'm proud of it or trying to sell it or do anything with it, but just to show and prove, you know, you shouldn't talk about a thing unless you know about it. And you know, I know about it because I was in it, and I was in it to win it. And so I have to show and prove, not show and tell. So I do that, you know, just for that purpose and for that purpose only. And so I make a lot of reference from time to time from different lyrics and different hip-hop quotables and classics. So as we talking, sometime it goes through my mind, because that's part of that program. Remember the Arrested Development video? You know, there are spirits behind that, and some of those spirits still linger about. And so from time to time they'll find themselves in my thought. So this was one, though, that must have been to the glory of the Most High, because it brought you this lesson, to do what you like. So, and please believe you're going to enjoy this. And look here, it's 8 minutes in. Gee, Monelli. And we ain't even begin. But Shock G, Humpty and duality. That's what it began to let me overstand as we talked about people using the excuse of their race or their heritage or their bloodline to do what they want to do. And that's the American way. Whether it's colored noir, whether it's Jewish style or Jewish style, or whether it's Israelite style, it don't matter. At the end of the day, we know that the Most High is no respecter of persons. So when we saw the video for Do What You Like, and that video used to be one of the videos that used to make the Taurian horn dog come out of your young dog here when I was one. You know, now I'm an old dog, an elder, and a big ump, and I'm glad to be that. And out of those delusions that I had when I was young, but some of those delusions were fed by hip-hop music. And so when I watched the Do What You Like video, like when I watched the 2 Live Crew Move Something video and Pop That Coochie and all the other ones, it had really geeked me up and get me revved up and set my mind to desire a certain kind of feminine companion. And you know, she had to be fine and with a big behind. And that'll jam you up. That'll put that in your mind of where, what if the Most High wants to send you something that's not along those same parameters of what you've been feeding your mind, what you've been feeding your spirit and your flesh. See, when that wife that the Most High intends for your life comes along, you may look at her wrong because of how you've been programmed through a song. That's just for you, my good brother down there in Texas. No. tell you, man, I like to have fun. So all y'all uptighty whiteys, you speed on before you get G'd on. Shock G, Humpty, duality. And what up to all of my brothers from other mothers and my sisters from other misters, all the races, colors, and creeds who get down on here because you Matthew 24 and 24 elect and you cannot be deceived. And that's to my main man Benny Blanco, Sister Brianna, to all of the brothers and sisters of a temple of the true Yahshua. I give a hearty what up though, like we say in Detroit where I'm from, the Mo. But Shock G, Humpty and duality. It shocked me to think about this. The dressed up custom and costume alter ego persona that Shock G presented before us as Humpty. And of course we know that there was a confusion, media centered confusion, because it was through reading the Source magazine and the other rap pages and things at that time that we heard things contrary to what our eyes told us. Our eyes told us that was Shock G. But then, of course, we would hear things. And, of course, when he did concerts, he had to get his brother or his cousin or whoever it was looked like him to play Humpty. But we're looking at that duality thing that I taught a great lesson on before. And, I say great meaning big, because it's up to you whether it was good or not. But I taught a lesson on this before, and I refer back to this time and time again, because what we're looking at oftentimes is a mind control program called Project Janus, which is all about duality. And entertainers are steeped in this program. Who was it that Garth Brooks doubled himself as? Somebody black, wasn't it? Where he had an alter ego from Garth Brooks' perceived persona of being a squeaky clean country all-American boy to this more hard-edged guy. Of course, same thing we see with Sasha Fierce and Beyonce. She's doing the same thing. And then, of course, we saw with Shock G and Humpty the same thing in hip-hop. Now, when you see the dressed up custom, the custom of dressing up in your costume, look at those two words. Look at custom and costume. Switch the U and the O around. You got the same words. Do you need the E at the end? No, you don't. All the E does is make the U in costume a long U. You can make it that with a symbol. A line over the U will accomplish the same thing as the E at the end. Come on now. We lightweight jamming to keep up. All right. So the customs of costumes, and ironically, we're in a time of customs and costumes, especially. Wait a minute. You've got the Mardi Gras popping off. Okay. You've also got St. Patty's Day. People dress up in green, right? The vibration of green. Is there anything reptilian behind that? And then you have Purim, which is a Hebrew holiday where people dress up as well. Now, Fat Tuesday, connected to the Mardi Gras. This has to do with overeating or excess, the excesses of the flesh. Let me see if I can straighten this out for y'all, just a little taste. You can hear me. You too near me not to hear me clearly. St. Patty's Day, Mardi Gras, Purim. Things all based in customs of dressing in costumes. Customs and costumes go hand in hand because they both are given by the fallen to man. Fallen angels give you the idea of creating an alter ego. Why? Because it's a slick trick bag way of causing you to hollow yourself out so that something else can come in. Now let me just read from here a little taste, if I may. Now, this is going to be fun. Okay. Now, I'm just the postman, here to drop off your mail. I can't stand there and ask you how you feel about your bill. It's time to get real. So we're going to look at the black and white duality checkerboard of Masons and how this directly relates to what the fallen angels want you to do when they cause you to involve yourself in customs that involve costumes. That's Halloween and all the rest. Why do you have to dress a certain way to identify with a thing? This is this is originally of the fallen. Remember, Yeshua said, take no thought about what you should wear, right? He didn't. When did you find him dressing up in customs or costumes? He said that you mix your laws with your traditions, and he didn't like it. Okay, so we're talking about traditions. They have to do with trade. You trading with one culture or cult. One cult trades with another cult culture. And you trade music, you trade ideas, and you trade costumes. So you have the custom of different places represented by the costumes. The different places, the different costumes were directly related to the fallen angels that came to that area and designed the customs and the costumes around the energy of a particular area. Some places had energy that was more conducive to certain things. So they designed the customs and the costumes to help you get into the mindset and the frequency necessary based on the energy of that geographic location to open yourself up or hollow yourself out for a fallen one or an old one, an entity, to step on in. Walk-ins welcome, like I say, outside your local barber and beauty salon. So when you see the black and white duality checkerboard of the Masons, you're seeing a representation not only of the fake game, the juxtaposition of black versus white as it's been contrived, because it has been contrived. Black and white wouldn't have no problem if everything was in its natural order and place. When things are out of order, it causes chaos. You either have order or chaos. And no, it's not right to bring forth chaos out of order unless, of course, you're the true and living great I am that I am. Who does that? Who can bring order from out of chaos and chaos from out of order? And operates in both. But, of course, we're talking about the true and living, the all-knowing. When mankind does that, he tends to just muck things up because a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways, and Yah is not the author of confusion. When mankind deals with these two things, he creates a confusion. And the black and white duality, the juxtaposition of the two opposite end frequencies, color frequencies, together does something to the mind to create doublethink. Don't believe it? How the Twilight Zone began. That black and white swirl. When Obeezy, with his no good self, was doing his campaign, he had a little golf cart looking type of a deal that they'd ride around in. That on the front of, he had that same magic swirl. That's sacred geometry. The cyclone, the cipher, but in black and white, also spinning. Because that does something to the mind. It creates that duality principle. It opens up the mind. It shocks the mind into that split of doublethink. And once that split has occurred, now there's an opening. This is how mind control slaves are created. Consult Fritz Springmeier's How to Create an Undetectable Mind Controlled Slave. Excellent book. If you can get the book unedited, and if you can get it without having to get it through InfoWars, that would be optimum. Because I don't trust Alex+Jones as long as I could throw his big butt. And I could throw it, but not too far. But, you know, you have to glean things from everywhere in this satanic land. It's all devil. It's all devil. So don't try to slap me in a box of books. Oh, well, brother, if you use this term and you use that. I'm speaking so that people understand what I'm saying, and it's liberating them, opening them up to what's going on around them, so that they then can do the due diligence necessary from how the spirit moves them to either deal with certain names or not deal with certain names. That's between you and Yah, and I have nothing to do with that. I can't put you in no heaven or no hell, but I'm a messenger, and that's it, a messenger, and some say a teacher, and somewhat of a scribe, because I likes to write. But, don't Illuminati me. Try to tell me what I'm supposed to say and how I'm supposed to say it. Neither. You won't get very far with that. And then if you really want to box with the box of books, you're going to lose. Because I've been in there. I said I was going to show y'all my old driver's license, so you can see. I know about don't cut your beard and all, and let your hair grow. I know all that type of stuff. But guess what? This is military, and I'm in intelligence. And in intelligence, you better know how to be wise as serpents and gentle as doves. That means a little slick. When they asked Yeshua, should we pay taxes, he didn't say flat out yes or no then. He said let your yes be your yes and your no be your no. But that was a little slick what he told him, wasn't it? That was real clever. Sometimes you have to be clever as the enemy is clever. And you trying to come full speed ahead. Well, no, we're going to say this, and we're going to use this, and we're going to wear the old stuff they wore million years ago, blah, blah, blah. You little game goofy. And this is a game. The black and white chessboard. This is chess, not checkers. And when I say a game, You know, it ain't no game, but you play it the same. You better be able to think ahead of your enemy, and you better be able to anticipate ways to keep him from catching you easily. You walk around with a target on your back because you're sticking out like a sore thumb. Be in the world and not of the world. Be able to speak the world language. Be able to talk and get your point across and break through the barriers of mind control. Even using the language that's supposed to keep you locked in it. The spell of spelling. But I digress. This is about Shock G, Humpty, and Pac. And check it out. You're going to love the Pac part. So, the black and white duality checkerboard of Masons, the light and dark, the physical and spiritual dynamic, that's what it represents on the checkerboard. Or it's really a chessboard. It's chess, not checkers, and that's really what they mean. Sacrificing one pawn for another. One piece for another. Even sacrificing royalty. Up to the king and the queen, right? Creating hollowed out bodies who give up or lose themselves. Yep, that's right, and you know which one has more value. Creating hollowed out bodies who give up or lose themselves, i.e. M&M's lose yourself, so old ones can come in. And yes, you know, I've been doing a little bit of research on the M&M as a clone thing, and there's a couple of guys who I need to get with to really find out a little more in-depth information on that. But I can just tell you from asking some general things and just keeping my eyes on that community from which I came. Another reason why I put the little music up there, so you can see, you know, I wasn't lightweight jamming. I was a heavyweight in Detroit underground hip-hop. I saw the birth of Eminem. I saw when Proof first brought him to the hip-hop shop. I was in there with his brown hair and his brown eyes and looking awful terrorized to be around all them brothers. Where did he really come from? But I digress, because I do believe that in the end, he had the type of nature to not like that type of control that they must put on artists who belong to the Project Janus program. You think it's a music business. I'm sorry, it ain't no music business. It is a mind control program. It is directly related to Janus, who is the god or goddess over the arts. And when I say god or goddess, because really it's twins, it's a male and a female, not just two-faced men. And the Gemini symbol is symbolic of this, and this is why Gemini is always said to be entertainers, you know, big and entertaining. You know, their mouthpiece is a beast, you know, their swag is something else, and their personalities can take many forms. This is what you need for acting, is it not? So you'll find that same symbol also for the theater. The same symbol as Gemini. The symbol of Janus. So when I say Project Janus, that's all we're talking about, the duality thing. So now you know Shock G must have been off into the Project Janus thing. Look at the thumbnail I got for this. That thumbnail is a cold piece, ain't it? I've been wanting to use that picture for a long time. Ever since I saw it in someone else's documentary. And I got a digital camera, and I took a shot of that, and I've been holding on to that for some time. So for those of you who want me to do something with pictures and all that type of stuff, I got some pictures. You know, I don't always have the time to be able to sit up and do the Windows Movie Maker thing, and I'm not good at Windows Movie Maker, although I use it a little taste. I'm not good at that. So somebody want to help on that, I'll send you some pictures, or, you know, we do it like people do remixes. I'll send you the rough stuff I got, and you put it together, or whatever. But I don't feel like that's so necessary. I really don't. You know, I like to do it like this. Maybe I like to hear myself talk. Lord help me. Jesus help me. All right. So Shock G, Humpty, Duality. Who was Digital Underground? And that was their names, right? Digital Underground. Who was Digital Underground? I don't want to say mocking, but in some respects, I guess that's not totally wrong. Who were they modeling themselves after? And remember, Digital Underground brought you Pac. So this is going to bring you Pac. They modeled themselves after Parliament Funkadelic. Now, you know, some of you know that I professed and confessed, professor, but I have confessed that Parliament Funkadelic was my favorite group. I'm a little bit of a historian when it comes to P-Funk. Their time that they spent in Detroit making the classics. They wasn't all from Detroit. They wasn't from Detroit, although George Clinton called Detroit his home, and he lived right across 9 Mile, which is technically not Detroit, but you know how close 9 Mile is to 8 Mile is the borderline, as I've told y'all before. So if George Clinton lived off 9 Mile, then, you know. But he and the boys that was making that noise made the noise here in Detroit, underground, at United Sound Studios, which is located on a college campus, a university at that. And what do I like to say about academia? You can't separate academia from the brotherhoods. There would be no university if not for the philanthropist families that donate the money, and for the brotherhoods, the fraternities and sororities that not only help bring students to the campus, but who help to tighten up their minds and make sure that they write, especially the elite of the students, the really upwardly mobile buppies and yuppies, the ones that's really go-getters. They're tapped, they like to say, and they say the same thing for masonry. They say you're tapped for the 33rd degree. They're tapped for either the top frats or sororities on that campus. So on the campus, near the campus, I mean like a block away, United Sound Studio is actually a part of the campus of Wayne State University. I didn't know that before, you know, but that's the information I got from the old school Motown musicians who would know about that thing. And you know, the distance, you know yourself. You can walk from United Sound Studios and you right in the midst of Wayne State University Motel right across the street where me and a lady friend of mine used to visit, and then United Sound, and then Wayne State University. United Sound, if you look on the back of your records, all my crate diggers and sample nuts, you'll find United Sound on all the dope Parliament stuff. They recorded it here. Also Zap recorded it here. Why? Here. I told you about Crowley came here and set the energy off. Detroit got a certain energy. Motown and the funk. It had to do with the demonic presence that was in Detroit, because it was set up to produce a certain demonic energy and keep that demonic energy flowing. The industry, the motor of a demonic land. But what drives a motor? The energy. And what was the energy that drove Detroit, you see? So, of course, certain music came out of here and have influenced black music infinitely. And of course, black music has been controlled forever by Lucifer from the very beginning. So Detroit also was controlled by Lucifer. And this is why the spirit of Detroit statue is Prometheus, which is nothing but a Grecian disguise for Lucifer. Lightweight jamming. All right, so now let's look at this again. So now, you know, Parliament is, of course, the government body in good old Britannica, which still run things. If you think the United States is separate from Britain, you've not done much research on that subject. It's well known, even among some Tea Party people, that that's not the case. Why are we always fixated when they have a wedding over there or when they wipe their butt over there? You hear some about it on the news. It's because that's still the boss dogs of this land we live in. This was nothing but a satellite nation to come from out of her, but still represented by Great Britain. So when you see Parliament Funkadelic that was on Casa Blanca Records, Casa mean house, Blanca mean white. Parliament is the government of what? Britannica, Britain. And Casablanca, the White House, represents the government here. Then you got funk, which is another boogie term. Okay, funk is another name for the spirits. The funk of 40,000 years. Ain't that what Vincent Price said on Thriller? Another boogie or term for foul spirit. Those of us who have had real life experience, not just theory, application of what they say in theory about encountering demons. One thing that you may have experienced is that there's a certain smell and stench. Some say it's fire and brimstone. I say it's the unclean thing, because where flies dwell, and remember he's also called, the adversary is also called Beelzebub, Lord of the Flies. He is also found, that demonic presence can also be found where there's dead, decaying things. You find the funk and you find the flies together. They go together. Okay? But we say something is funky and you make that face. Somebody really jamming on the bass, or you hear a real dope beat, it's funky. Same face you make, same face Fred Sanford make when he see Esther. That's the same face you make when you run across that demonic stench. It's the same face, baby. Please believe it. I smelt it. It's nothing nice. And you know, that makes me think a little bit more about perfume and cologne again. But I digress. Parliament Funkadelic. I'm going to stay on this and I'm going to be done because I got to go. All right. Now the adelic. We know that comes directly from what? Psychedelic or mind altering. Well, now let's look at digital underground. And I said it like that on purpose. There's a method to my madness. Digit, the finger, you know, like the finger of God that we are told penned the scriptures that were given to Moshe. And also, we know that Yeshua wrote with his finger in the sand. And whatever he wrote scared off those people who were trying to unjustly judge that sister at the time. So the digit originally has to do with the finger. Okay? And all we know comes from L. Well, L comes from all because A is the original. And that means Lord. We find that in ball. Lord actually means ball. Okay? So, and underground. That denotes hellishness or below radar, below frequency, under the ground. Sounds like harp to me. Digital frequencies below the ground. So underground. So now we're going to speed through this. And really, we're going to do a part 2. That's how we're going to do this. Because this will all lead you into Tupac and how Tupac was a product of the thing that we talked about on the Messy Jackson and Al Sharptongue video. He was, unfortunately, from the time he was a child, put into the Project Janus program. And he epitomized the program in so many ways. The duality of it. His first song or single that I remember getting some real buzz, Trapped. You know, he was trapped in this system. Like Michael Jackson. I don't like when people go so hard on Michael Jackson. Michael was a boy when he was brought into the system. So was Pac. Pac was born into the system. If you really do your research on Afeni Shakur and you try to figure out how this sister was able to defend herself, okay, and she was the only one who did that, and she got off acquitted of 156 counts, and her child was born not by her husband. She was married. He was a polygamist. He had other wives, but she was married to him, to Lumumba. But as I said, we're going to go further into that on part 2. So I just wanted to kind of get some of that out now and prep you for part 2, where we really going to heavyweight jam and let you know about tonight's interview on irockradiofm.org with Sister Lois James at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So we shall continue along this same line. We're going to look at more things concerning duality, the Project Janus dynamic that you're going to find all throughout entertainment, not just with Sasha Fierce. And some of you might want to jump ahead, turn Sasha backward, and that'll give you some insight as to who that entity really is that is in Beyonce. When you're looking at Beyonce, you're really looking at another entity, queen entity of demons, if you will. So we shall return. Shalom.